Perfect. I think it's on. All right. So, a very good afternoon to all who are joining us today from the region, and a very good morning to all who are here from Germany. I would like to welcome all of you to the second day of the conference connecting Germany and South Asia, future of higher education and research institution. My name is Shikha Sinha. I take care of the international cooperation at DAD New Delhi regional office. I'll be moderating this panel discussion today, which is about internationalization of higher education in Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal and Sri Lanka. As we all heard yesterday from the DAD Vice President, that Asia Pacific region is important to Germany, and this has also been published in the strategy by the German government. It will be interesting for us to know the internationalization and scientific cooperation and different perspectives with South Asia from our panelists today, and it is also it will be a priority for Germany and for DAD. So it will be interesting to hear from our panelists their perspective today into the topic of internationalization of higher education from their respective countries. And before we start, let me quickly introduce our guest for this panel in alphabetical order, country-wise. Our first panelist is Dr. Firdaus Zaman, who is the Secretary, University Grants Commission, Bangladesh. After serving at various positions in different divisions and sections of University Grants Commission in Bangladesh, Dr. Zaman is currently working as the Secretary as well as the Director, Planning and Development Division at the University Grants Commission, Bangladesh. Dr. Zaman is also the Secretary General of Dhaka University Sociology Alumni Association. Next, we have Dr. Fanchong from Bhutan. Dr. Fanchong is the Director of Research and External Affairs, Royal University of Bhutan. He has been into the public service as a rural development agent, academic policy and planning, and university management. He is also the Secretary to the Research and Innovation Committee and the Research Degree Committee, and member to various academic boards and research committees of Royal University of Bhutan and the Royal Government of Bhutan. Our next panelist is from Nepal, Mr. Durga Prasad Bhandari. Mr. Bhandari is the Associate Professor and Vice Principal of Nepal Engineering College. Mr. Bhandari is coordinating the Nepal chapter of Indian Society for Technical Education, India, and handling the projects on internationalization, a step forward in the internationalization of higher education institutions in Nepal and India. And this project has been co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union, and is also working as a project manager in the higher education capacity development projects in the field of internationalization of higher education institutions. Last but not least, we have with us today Dr. Ranjit Senaratne from Sri Lanka. Dr. Senaratne is the Chairman of National Science Foundation, Colombo. He was the Vice Chancellor, University of Ruhuna, Chairman of the Committee of Vice Chancellors and Directors, and Vice Chairman, University Grants Commission, before taking up his role as the Chairman of NSF in Colombo. Dr. Senaratne has a long experience in the field of higher education and has also many books and papers in the field of higher education, science and technology, and national development to his credits. So once again, thanks to all the panelists for taking out the time from their busy schedule and join us today and give their insights and perspectives on the topic. So we just have 1 hour here. So our session will be mainly structured in 2 rounds covering broadly 4 thematic points. Round 1 will start with an opening statement and focus on the strategies or national policies along with the measures taken in their respective national context. And round 2 will focus mainly on understanding the overall status quo of internationalization of higher education and a way forward for internationalization from the context of South Asia. So each panelist should take around 5 minutes, I would say, to respond to each round of discussion. And to steer the discussion forward, I would like to request our panelists to orient their opening remark regarding the existing strategies or specific national policies towards internationalization, and also short remark on the measures taken or expected to be taken in order to implement them. We can start with Dr. Zaman. Dr. Zaman, over to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Shikha Sinha. Good afternoon to all of the dignitaries and who are related with the conference on internationalization of higher education. At the very outset, I like to remember the greatest Bengali of all times, the father of the Bengali nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. The higher education system in Bangladesh is very much vibrant and well organized. The government of Bangladesh mentions and ensures the standard of higher education through University Grants Commission of Bangladesh with the Secondary and Higher Secondary Division, Ministry of Education. At the tertiary level education, the universities of Bangladesh are nominated by the University Grants Commission of Bangladesh. Public and private universities in Bangladesh have Institutionalization Quality Assurance Cell, IQAC. Moreover, each public university has an academic committee in its department and centrally an academic council. Those two bodies ensure quality academic and research activities. Exchange in information knowledge. We will also be happy to know that the strategic plan for higher education in Bangladesh 2080 to 2030 is now working through our commission and the Ministry of Education. The People's Republic of Bangladesh government established Accreditation Council for Public and Private Universities Act 2017 to oversee the quality issues in all higher education institutes in Bangladesh. The Accreditation Council functions effectively and efficiently with the subscribed to activities by the Bangladesh government with the collaboration of UGC. The tertiary education level, we have quality recognized body like the Institute of Engineers Bangladesh, the Institute of Cost Management Accounts in Bangladesh, Bangladesh Association of Software and Information Services, Bangladesh Computer Council and Society, Bangladesh Bar Council Association, Bangladesh Agriculture Research Council, Bangladesh Accreditation Council, and many others identities. So I think here should be to like up among with the Higher Education Institute of South Asia, encouraging the collaboration and new partnerships. The government of Bangladesh always gives much initiative to the internationalization of higher education. In that purpose, UGC Bangladesh and universities of Bangladesh have signed about 260 MU, Memorandum of Understanding, with the different renowned universities and industry of the world. UGC Bangladesh always encouraging the collaboration among G2G, G2B, and B2B partners relating the standard of higher education. UGC Digital Library, UDL, launched its journey in 2012 with 34 universities. Now, till more than 34,100, 31,000 ebooks, 3,100 journals, and 10,000 conference proceedings papers, e-resource have been added to the UDL platform from 12 renowned publishers, JSTR, IEEE, Oxford University Press of Books, Pearsons, Cambridge University Press, etc. Our student and teacher will researcher can collect their information and read the e-journals and e-books from anywhere in the world. So this has been possible to by the collaboration and partnership with the different institutes of the world. Identifying to the points for a common agenda. We have about 4.1 million students in the higher education institute or universities in Bangladesh. So I think this discussion will add a new dimension in the pedagogical system. To me, this is the time befitting to discuss as we must continue the organizing present virtual classroom after the COVID-19 pandemic along with the physical attested in the classes. Now we will be harding with the physical system, but we are talking different initiative to forward with blended learning in our pedagogical institute. 1.5 million number of the classes in the 150 universities have been conducted during the pandemic period till now through the support of UGC and Bangladesh Research Network BDRN. And all the classes have been held through Zoom virtual platform. So I think the common agenda should be capacity building of higher education institutional faculties, academic executives and the other related with it. I would not prolong my speech anymore. I hope this conference will pave a way to the go ahead with the internationalization of the higher education. May God always keep us safe and sound. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Dr. Saman. Indeed, very interesting insights about the strategies uh, in Nepal in the field of higher education. We'll get more questions, and I request all the participants, if you have questions specific to any panelist, kindly type it in the chat box. Next, we go to Dr. Sena Ratne from Sri Lanka. Over to you, Dr. Sena Ratne.
Yes, good day and greeting from Sri Lanka. First, I wish to express our gratitude to Dad and the German government for the opportunity afforded to take part in this important discussion and the event. Internationalization of higher education is actually a global phenomenon, and presently there are over 5.3 million foreign students studying across the globe, and it is estimated that this would increase to about 8 million by 2025. And Germany is actually in top 10 countries in terms of higher education, very much sought after universities there. And Germany is also not just another country which has the cradle of intellectuals, scientists, technologists, world leaders, and philosophers. So Sri Lanka is very keen to really further expand academic cooperation and research collaboration with German universities in a mutually rewarding and reinforcing manner. Education, as you know, it is not only a capacity builder, especially when you come to education overseas, it becomes a bridge builder, and through enhanced cooperation with the German universities, we will bring the two countries closer and to interact more fruitfully and a rewarding manner. In regard to strategies for higher education in Sri Lanka, government policies to provide higher education to all who qualify for university admission. But at present, only 20% of the students who qualify for university education gain admission to universities because of limited facilities and limited intake. and only 5% of the population actually counted for by graduates. In Germany, it is 30%. So we would like to really increase the proportion of graduates in Sri Lankan population. Moreover, in the past, we had many students and scientists going to many countries across the world, Europe, North America, Australia, and Asia. But of late, our students have been mainly going to Asia. As a result, the diversity we had in universities and research institutions has now actually reduced, and it is more homogeneity that is not good for academic rigor and vigor. So we want to send more of our students, more of our young budding scientists, promising scientists to Europe, especially to Germany. And also the additional advantage by going to Germany, because they would also acquire working knowledge in Germany that would be very useful. In order to promote, some interventions have been made that each university has established Center for International Affairs. So every university having that unit structure committed to promoting international cooperation. And the University Grants Commission, under the vice chairman of the UGC, has set up a special facility desk that will facilitate immigration of foreign students and taking care of their needs. And also, we have actually taken steps to improve infrastructure and also credit transfer facility so that any students coming to Sri Lanka would be able to follow courses which will bear credit that would be transferred to their country. So also Sri Lanka will offer courses that will be of great relevance to countries in Germany, where we have competitive advantage and core competencies like fields like biodiversity, ecological diversity, because of the 34 hotspots, Sri Lanka is one country with a very rich biodiversity. And also hydraulic civilization. We started this hydraulic civilization as far back as 500 BC. So we have these tanks built and very good cascade system, and also indigenous medicine. Even many German tourists come to Sri Lanka for traditional medicine. So that is area. And also Sri Lanka is considered as an island of gems. So gemology. So these are some few areas where Sri Lanka could offer uh, attractive courses to scientists or students in Germany and work in a mutually rewarding and reinforcing manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sena Ratne. Very interesting aspects. Uh, Actually, what you touched upon, the capacity development and the thrust areas for joint research worldwide. We'll come to that maybe a little later. But next, we can go to Dr. Fanchung. I hope your audio is better now.
Uh-huh. Uh, is it better?
Definitely, yes. Yes, go ahead, Dr. Fanchung.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shika, and my colleagues, the distinguished colleagues from Bangladesh, India, Nepal, and Lanka, and also, of course, the international participants to this virtual conference. I'm deeply honored to be invited as this panelist from Bhutan. This conference theme is definitely related to the remit of my
I'm
department that I facilitated internationalization
sorry.
of higher education.
Sorry
and,
to
and the
interrupt Dr. Fanchong,
Royal
but
University of Bhutan. I would therefore like to share some of the strategies that we have put in place.
Dr.
And
Fanchong,
our
sorry, Dr. Fanchong, you're not
also
no, we cannot understand you.
experiences that we have worked with
Dr.
the
Fanchong,
institution in Germany, and of course,
Dr. Fanchong, 1 second, sorry to interrupt you.
how
Your
I
voice
see
is,
the
no, it's not working. Dr. Fanchong, it's not working. Your audio is breaking.
prospects.
We cannot hear you, Dr. Fanchong. We will just, yeah, when
Are you
you
hearing,
start,
Shika?
no, Dr. Fanchong, when you start
Okay.
speaking, it breaks. Maybe we go next to Mr.
Not,
Durga
is it not
Prasad.
audible?
Now it is. I hope it stays
Audio
like
is
that.
not clear. Okay.
Yeah, say something, yeah. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
You can, on my behalf,
No, no, Dr.
uh,
Chung, it is not working, it is not working. But maybe, you know, you had sent me your remarks and your statement.
yes, I think maybe Shika, you can
I I will go ahead. I'll go ahead. I have few pointers from you. So basically, Dr. Fanchung has sent his remarks on the entire strategies of internationalization in Bhutan, and I'll just share some. He says, I quote him, the internationalization strategy through the study abroad programs they have, and they have various study abroad programs, short-term study abroad program from 1 to 6 weeks for the tailor-made courses. They have semester abroad programs where the international students take a minimum of 2 credit modules that is transferred to their universities. That's very interesting for the international students. There is such a program in place at the Royal University in Bhutan. Then they have visiting research students program where whose primary purpose is to conduct research in Bhutan towards a degree at another institution for duration of 1 to 1 year, something like a sandwich model. And he also talks about full-time award program for students who enroll and receive degrees from their universities. And this study abroad program is important to give international students the relevant exposure and readiness to face multicultural settings and dimensions. Then Dr. Fanchung also speaks about the university strategize proactively for internationalization activities or initiatives through the mobility program, and they have various mobility programs where the international staff and students from various countries including Asia and Europe are supported by the university, and national educational programs like New Colombo program, New Colombo plan, Erasmus Plus, and things like that. Apart from that, we also strategize to recruit international staff, Dr. Fanchung says, from various countries to participate as a volunteer in different projects like Thailand International Cooperation Agency, etc. And they also hosted German staff in the engineering college and the natural resource college for teaching. And lastly, he mentions the royal government of Bhutan encourages to host international research events in Bhutan through various seminars and workshops, conferences, and meetings, and educational exhibitions in Bhutan. So, and specific to Germany, Dr. Fanchung also shares the experience of Royal University of Bhutan in collaboration with Germany. And he says from 2006 onwards, they have partnered in Erasmus Mundus program on twinning European and South Asia river basins. They have collaborations in such projects with Friedrich Schiller University in Germany, Rostock University. There was a project which was funded by DAD from 2013 to 16 on hydropower plants. And this is very interesting. Dr. Fanchung says recently, till 2023, Our university have secured Erasmus project on accreditation and internationalization in South Asia Higher Education Institute with University of Bremen. And there are various other collaborations with Germany. He mentions about that. And as well as he talks about the DAD funded programs where many researchers and scholars have received DAD grants to do their PhDs or higher studies and research in Germany at various universities in Germany. So this is about the collaboration with Germany he talks about. Yeah, so in nutshell, a lot of it is very strategic, and I must read this one sentence which I find very interesting. He says, our smallness in size gives us the best options to monitor the welfare of our foreign staff and students, and I completely agree with Dr. Fanchung. Very interesting. Thank you very much, Dr. Fanchung. I hope your audio gets better. And now we move on to Mr. Durga Prasad Bhandari from Nepal. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. So, I am audible?
You are.
Yes, thank you. Very good afternoon, good morning, and namaste with that wherever you are. I am Durga Prasad Bhandari from Nepal. So thank you very much, organizer, for giving this opportunity to represent our country, Nepal, in this international forum. So in terms of this internationalization in Nepal, first let's me explore about the higher education in the country Nepal. The higher education is recognized today as a capital investment and is of paramount importance for economic and social development of the country. However, the government of Nepal has set some of the objective of the higher educations to impart higher education to the people as per the need of the country, to preserve and develop the historical and cultural heritage of the nation, to produce manpower competent enough in the global context. So these are some of the objective of the higher education as the government of Nepal has set. As per the multi-university policy adopted by the government of Nepal, altogether we have 11 universities and 6 different academies as equivalent to deemed universities are currently in the operation. UGC is responsible, that is University Grant Commission in Nepal is responsible for allocation and disbursement of grants to the universities and their campuses, regulating activities of the universities, maintenance of standards of teaching, examination, research in the university. And they also formulate the policies and program for the universities. The UGC has launched the Quality Assurance Accreditation Program as an important aspect of reform in higher education in Nepal. So this quality QAAC, which is Quality Assurance and Accreditation Committee, has been formed for the development and implementation of the activities in higher education in 2007. So as per the Economic Survey of Nepal conducted by the Ministry of Finance for that fiscal year, the total number of students studying in various universities and their colleges inside the country increased by 10.6% in this current fiscal year. This number had been 4,86,000 in this fiscal year, last fiscal year. However, unfortunately, we have to say the rate of students choosing to go abroad for higher education has dramatically increased despite or in spite of this increasing number of universities and public institutions in Nepal. So because we all witness this poverty, unemployment, slow economic growth and political instability are the major forces which are acting for this. Countries that have been predominantly accepted or chosen by the Nepalese students are Australia, Japan, New Zealand, and of course the USA remains the highly preferred choice for the Nepalese students. However, there are the students now, they are accepting the European countries as their final uh, higher education destination as well. Nepal is being established as a prominent actor in the sector of international students market with the increasing rate of students traveling abroad. But it is the high discrepancy we observe in the number of outbound and inbound international students in Nepal. Very few or negligible number of students from the international arena are coming to Nepal to accomplish the study in comparison to the other South Asian countries. Nepalese education associate with a very number of international collaboration, but they are in very few. The programs offered by international collaboration in Nepal are predominantly in the professional area itself, including the medicine, IT, and management. Analyzing, so Nepal government or Nepalese university are analyzing researches, other academic collaboration and faculty exchange as a huge step still to be a crossover to gain the success in this area. A few steps such as the development of some special education zone in this region for improving the quality in existing higher education institutions with a strategy to make this location attractive for the international mobile students is being taken care of the government. So this is very important, significant steps that has been taken by Nepal government in the current education policy. Currently, attempts such as international collaboration for student exchange, faculty exchange, curriculum development, joint researches, joint master's programs have been the initiatives taken by individual institutions rather than the act by the government policy. These steps are mostly designed and concentrated in the autonomous or some self-funded institution, and only a very few number of studies have been considered on this. So that is, but the National Education Policy 2076, or we can say 2019, has been approved by the Cabinet or Council of Minister of the Government of Nepal on last year. So that mentioned the internationalization of Nepal's higher education programs by setting quality and study methods to attract international students to higher education programs. Policy also talk about expanding Nepali traditional knowledge, skills, and technology to the world with the assurance of this higher quality education in this South Asian zone. We are also been witnessing or participating in the different project that has been funded or co-funded from European Union commissions, that is Erasmus Plus. We are implementing or we are participating in the internationalization projects. So our main focus is to increase the internationalization in the higher education institution. So currently or recently, we are also conducting a project, a step forward in the internationalization of higher education in India and Nepal, so which is also co-funded by the European Union, and where we are setting the standards or establishing the office as an international relation office to conduct and to cooperate the internationalization activities in the higher education institution. We will be witnessing or we will be acting as a platform for the other higher education institution in Nepal to take care these internationalization activities. However, we need the supports from the government that has been already been involved as a policy in the national education policy recently, so which will of course help us. There are the few challenges, so we need to overcome to implement this higher education, internationalization of higher education in Nepal, so which include national policy, lack of vision, curriculum content, gaps, credit transfer mechanism, insufficient funding for internationalization, untrained staff resources, international offices, lack of institutional will. So there are a few barriers we need to overcome for to get these internationalization activities on the track. So that's it. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to express or to put my views on this platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bandari. Very interesting to know actually, and it's very heartening to see a progressive evaluation in South Asia towards the internationalization, which actually started not so many years ago. In India, for example, this talk about national education policy, it came only after 40 years, gradually, but it is evolving, yes. So coming to our next round, maybe we can, and I would like to request the participants to kindly type in your questions here, and we'll take it just in a minute or so. But before that, it will be interesting to know from all our esteemed panelists, what are your thoughts on the future of internationalization? If we talk about internationalization within the context of South Asia, I think it's still very much within the region. Of course, there are a lot of students going abroad for studies and all, but when we actually talk about internationalization, it's quite within the region. Do you see a change in trend, say next 5 years or 10 years? Your take on that, and we can just go to Dr. Zaman for that. Just in 2 or 3 lines, what do you see? Dr. Zaman? I think he cannot hear us, but maybe till he comes back. Dr. Senaratne, would you like to give your inputs on that? How do you see the future trend of the entire internationalization? Is it moving towards?
The
Yeah, go ahead,
now,
please.
yeah, actually now if you look at the globe, we see a lot of global challenges, and global challenges need transnational and transdisciplinary approach. So countries need to work together as one family. In this regard, this international cooperation, as I mentioned before, is not only a capacity builder but also a bridge builder. So we would like to use international cooperation to really bring about synergy, complementarity, and also address the gaps in our system so that we would be able to contribute more effectively and efficiently to global challenges and be a really active partner in addressing global challenges in concert with other nations. So this is actually common thread running through all our universities. This is the bottom line, international cooperation. We need to be global minded. We should have global perspective. We need to bring new insights for which is international uh, internationalization of higher education is a prerequisite, and we accord top priority to that. And we want to take it to a new height in the future, and also through cooperation with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Senaratne. You are absolutely right. Actually, globalization in the entire context of internationalization is very, very important. And I see in future also, that's my perspective, that there are a lot of preferred collaboration fields or thrust areas where the other universities from all over the world might be very good partners to universities in South Asia to work together for the joint research. Let's take up a couple of questions here. I already see some questions. One second. So there is a question. In my personal opinion, there must be an international affairs or relation office in each university or institution to effectively implement internationalization. Are you agree with that, or please advise some better approach? Yeah, exactly. The whole debate of internationalization at home. Maybe our panelists would like to give their thoughts on that. I think somebody touched upon having international offices in their respective universities. So I must say, are we looking at the expertise maybe from the European experience in international relation management, sharing European expertise in the Asian context? If anybody would like to share any best practice from their countries or institutions from their countries? Sorry, yeah, Dr. Senaratne, go ahead.
As I briefly touch upon, now when I was Vice Chancellor 2001, University of Ruhuna, we established Center for International Affairs 20 years ago. We really realized the importance. Now each and every university has a Center for International Affairs, and those who are well trained overseas are heading those divisions. And universities have accorded high priority to those centers and provided the requisite facilities and capacity building. And National Science Foundation, in order to facilitate that, we have constructed a digital platform so that we would be able to harness Sri Lankan expatriate. We have over 3 million across the globe, high profile scientists we have been able to invite to join our platform. Even in Germany, we have identified the Sri Lankans who are working there, who are employed there in different capacity. We have a database, but we would like to further strengthen and expand that through that so that we can get more on board and they can be our ambassadors to really bring about science and technology advisors to bring more German institutions academia and R&D like Max Planck closer to us and work in a mutually rewarding and reinforcing manner. So that is our top priority. And National Science Foundation has a special office dedicated to Europe. There's a special desk for Europe. We appointed scientific officer. That person will be in future contacting you to take our cooperation to a new height, Ishika.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Senaratne. I think this is a very important aspect about the whole capacity building and having international offices. And I can just comment that DAD also, one of the goals of DAD is to provide counseling and support for internationalization at home through the expertise from different German universities. And every year we do have events on and workshops on that, where we invite people from the international offices from the region, all the countries and India. So interesting. Mr. Bhandari, do you want to say something on that in Nepal, how it is there? When we talk about say an international student coming there, is there a kind of proper guidelines or an office where international office can just come and contact, and for anything they have a place at different universities?
Yes, I think this is a very important thing. We need as an international office, international, let's say, affair office to transfer the knowledge. I think it's very important to share the knowledge because in our South Asian countries, so there are the rigid hierarchical pyramid within institution and administration as well as in government side. And this is not allowing easy knowledge sharing. So which is quite important to transfer the sharing, knowledge sharing, which we are in towards this process to set up an international office and have this kind of knowledge sharing. So I do, as in Nepal, I think this internationalization is limited to the outbound students than inbound students. But it's quite important to have this outbound students coming in Nepal, or rather inbound students coming to Nepal, so that the more internationalization, knowledge sharing, cultural exchange, and other activities could be handled. So this is very important, and we are about to set up an international office and also having providing the training for the international officers. So from our own budget in the institution and from the project budget that has been allocated from this project.
Right, perfect. Thank you. So you touch about the budget, and I think there was a question about are there any specific budget allocated? And Dr. Fanchung says from Bhutan, we do have an annual budget for the international collaboration. We also facilitate international grants to all university campuses. And good to facilitate from one central university office at the International Relation Office. Yeah, so budget, yes, is equally important. If one wants to develop on the whole thing, one definitely needs budget from the government. I'm just looking, you can ask your questions here, we can take it up. But maybe again, I don't know if Dr. Zaman, are you still with us? Dr. Zaman?
Thank you very much. Actually, extremely sorry. Our honorable minister called me. I talked with her.
No
Please,
No
please.
problem. Yeah, go ahead. No, I just wanted to ask you if you want to give your inputs on this whole internationalization at home policy. Do you have to make any comments on that?
Uh, Thank you very much, Madam Sheila. Actually, I want to question about this. I totally agreed with another person, our honorable representative from Sri Lanka, Bhutan, and also Nepal. Actually, we are passing an unexpected situation before 2000 COVID-19 pandemic. Now we need collaboration. Without regional collaboration, we do not go ahead. Firstly, we need to collaboration and with nation to nation, country to country. This is reality. Without collaboration, without cooperation, we cannot agree our regional higher education. This is the most important for us. I mean, for Asia region. And also not only Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, we need to help also India and other our neighbor country. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Zaman. And we have a question here about
Yes.
interregional cooperation in higher education. What would be their role on it? Bearing in mind that in South Asia, we now have the ASEAN region. So it's again about the inter-regional cooperation. Dr. Senaratne, would you like to comment on that, on the inter-regional cooperation? I think we touched
Yes,
upon the fact, but yeah, please go ahead.
actually, now each country has its own unique strength, features, competitive advantages. And for instance, if you say Bhutan, it's a country having a negative carbon footprint. How they manage? Because global, you see the climate change is ravaging the whole world. Huh? But now, say Bhutan, we can learn a lot from those countries. I think so. Like I say, even Nepal, they are. I think we like to really learn from their best practices in terms of management of climate, management of disasters, and so on. And with link with Germany. So, if we could really develop a network following this meeting, I think that would enable us to continue this program focusing on some high priority, high impact matters. I think that would be very useful. And also, I will request that if we could, after this, a follow up discussion could be held online so that we would be ready with more sharply focused areas to work on a mutually rewarding and beneficial manner. Thank you.
Absolutely, I completely agree, Dr. Senaratne. Very good comment, and I think Dr. Durga Prasad Bhandari would like to comment on that. Yeah, please go ahead, Mr. Bhandari.
Yes, it's very important point has been mentioned already. I think however, we are in the South Asian region, we are having different priorities to handle the different type of tragedy. Let's say we in Nepal are facing the different challenges in terms of natural disasters or calamities are concerned. So that is how we regional networking, how we set up the regional networking for the international exchange. So our main priority, I think, all institutions, however we are practicing internationalization, is nothing to do only about the marketing or image building status. We really want to set up, or we would really want to enhance the skill that has been provided to teachers, students, and of course the society will also be benefited from this. So I think main motivation or main the setup behind this internationalization should come from the heart of each institution, which is really required to enhance the quality or enhance the skill for the countries with the different challenges we are facing. So regional networking, which would be very important for this internationalization, without which it will not be possible to execute this internationalization. Thank you, Rishika.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're so right, Mr. Bhandari. And you know that I also it brings a thought back about this Dr. Sonam Wangchuk. He's working on a very local research in Ladakh University. So I was just thinking when Dr. Senaratne was mentioning about how important it is also to go for the local research, you know, what the community needs or what the nation needs. And now that university and the research what he is doing, the entire international community see Ladakh as a preferred destination to work on those areas in the sustainability or climate change, which is quite a topic. So yeah, you are completely right. Keep the national interest and the local interest in mind is equally important. And yeah, okay, Dr. Fanchung says for regional academic collaboration, perhaps PhD study in climate change in Bhutan may be the best option. Yeah, exactly. Bhutan can be, you know, sustainability and natural climate changes and things like that. That can be a very, very preferred destination for the international students. Someone mentioned about the whole credit transfer. So maybe a, you know, last couple of lines about the whole credit transfer or the recognition of the activities done by researchers and students abroad. How is that? Are there proper guidelines on that about the proper credit transfer things or the accreditation? I think accreditation we already talked about, but the whole credit transfer. Uh, Mr. Bhandari again.
Yes, about the credit transfer, I think it's very important. Each institution or each country has different way of handling the higher education institution. It depend upon the policy that has been set up by the higher education institution or who is the responsible to monitor this. I just want to share with the experience which Nepal is facing at this moment regarding this credit transfer is very difficult, we can say, at this moment, unless and until the government or institution make accept this internationalization, which has been really required to enhance the skill of the students, faculty, institution, and society. I think it will not going to change. So that's why I am mentioning the internationalization is nothing to do with the marketing or image building. This is really should come from the heart of the institution, its country, its government, depending upon the interest of their own priority. So it's and the government has to have some guidelines to for the university. How can we transfer the credit transfer? But at this moment, from my country's perspective, I just say it's very difficult at this moment to transfer entire credit from other institution if we execute this international or we send the international students from other countries or we bring foreign students to country. So I think other member or panelists can have some more idea on this. But from perspectives of the Nepal, so government is working, although they are making this quite handy for this credit transfer mechanism. We will see in a couple of years so lots of change in this credit transfer mechanism.
Yes, Ms. Shikaya,
Yeah, yeah,
could
go
I,
ahead, Dr. Singh.
yes, during my first submission, I mentioned about credit transfer, which is actually prerequisite to have international cooperation, especially exchange of students and so on. So now these are also now getting internationalized, international standard. When you say a two credit course, it is very clear. When you call it is like, you know, it is international. When you two credit course, whether it is Germany, USA, or Australia, or Sri Lanka, or Bhutan, it means the same thing, right? So we have to follow that. Our system is have already developed that. So, but we need to identify courses which are really required by different countries, right? In the light of our competitive advantages and unique strengths. So then we would be able to really, we could have further discussion on this, how to ensure credit transfer smooth and feasible. But here the mechanism is already in place. So this is not what be difficult. Even Sri Lanka could help if some countries want any support. How we have developed, we would be happy to share, because I was earlier at the University Grant Commission. We have very close contact. We have these senior persons who are working in this field regionally, experts. We could make their services available if you want to any of our colleagues from our region. Thank you.
Great to know that, Dr. Senaratne. Thank you. And I think it has been also very good to know that Sri Lanka has such guidelines in place. Uh, in India also, if I can just, in the Indian context, I say they are at it. And when we talk about joint degree programs and things like that, the UGC is in the process of finalizing the guidelines on joint degrees and credit transfer. Also, the NEP talks a lot about the credit transfer, credit bank transfer, and things like that. Great, that is good to know. And I don't see any further questions. So maybe last, we are left with just 3 minutes. Any last remark from any of our panelists?
I think I will have some comment on this. Is our
Just,
Sure. Okay, first,
this is
first Mr. Bhandari and then maybe Dr. Sena Ratne and
okay.
we will end the session. Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Bhandari.
I will take an 1 minute. This is a wonderful event that you are initiating. Actually, Dad is initiating. So I think this should be taken on for further activities as well, because having this regional network is very important. So from such type of activities or discussion, I think at least we can generate some outcomes that we should work towards having the regional network in South Asia, and inviting the countries like Germany or other expert or participants in our this type of network. So this will really be important. I think we should take something from this towards the future regional network building. That's my comment.
Absolutely, Mr. Bhandari. We keep doing such events and we do a lot of workshops and events in this aspect, and we will be in touch. And for the future event, we will definitely. Yeah, please go ahead, Dr. Sena Ratne. Last words.
yeah, and and we don't want this to be a one-off event. We want this to be a beginning of a long journey. Confucius has said, "Journey of 1,000 miles begin with a single step." I think we have taken the first step today, and we want to really march along that long journey hand in hand with all our colleagues in the region and with that and we look forward to that. I hope that some follow-up action would be taken, and we would be more than happy to really commit ourselves to that. I'm sure our friends and colleagues will be more than happy to work hand in hand in a mutually rewarding way. And thanks, Dad, for really the initiative. We look forward to greater interaction and cooperation to mutual benefit through this platform. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Sena Ratne. I completely agree. This is not going to be the last event. We'll continue our collaboration. We'll work together. And yesterday, somebody mentioned the highest, the largest amount of young generation is the largest in the South Asia region, and one can see it already. You know, in next decade or so. This is going to be a very, very important region for the world. So thank you. With that thought, I would like to thank once again all our panelists. Thank you very much. And to all the participants also, thank you very much. And we go ahead with our next event, which is the keynote by Dr. Deutschmann in another room, and I'm sure that is going to be very interesting, and it's talking about the mobility. And see you all next 3 days during our B2B meeting. I hope you all have registered in the tool and made a lot of contacts and appointments already. Thank you, Dr. Fanshung. Thank you very much. We'll talk again.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Dr. Zaman. Thank you, Dr. Sena Ratne, everybody. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very,
Thank
very
you
much.
all round. Okay, bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.